The casting couch culture throughout Hollywood, the music business, the TV business. Now, in the case of Harvey Weinstein, we have yet another warning from over 10 years ago. Nobody paid attention. Here's what Courtney Love said about Weinstein back in 2005.
Hi, Comedy Central.
Do you have any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood?
I'll get live with this. Harvey Weinstein invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons downtown.
Recording artist Kaya Jones is also calling out the music industry. Kaya, who used to be a member of the Pussycat Dolls, she tweeted this weekend, "My truth, I wasn't in a girl group. I was in a prostitution ring. Oh, and we happened to sing and be famous while everyone who owned us made the money." We reached out to the founder of the Pussycat Dolls, Robin Antin, and she denies what Kaya is saying. Here with reaction, recording artist Kaya Jones, actress Tracy Lindsay Melchior is with us. Kaya, how old were you when you first got into music?
I was 12 when I first got signed.
Wow. And how quickly did the predators begin to move in?
Well, I think that's the thing. They didn't move in right away for me. I didn't receive anything until I was 18 years old and I joined the Pussycat Dolls. So I think had I not had a career before that, where I knew that there are people with integrity, it wouldn't have probably been alarming, but it was super alarming because I had been in the business and never had any advances.
And when you say is a prostitution ring, those are strong words. People want to understand this.
Oh, well, you know, when you have a den mother from hell that's controlling the girls, manipulating the mind, and verbally and mentally abusive, what's the difference between that and a pimp in order to control the narrative? That's what was done on a day-to-day basis by Miss Antin. And furthermore, you know, it was a constant thing of being, attacked to the back of cars and innuendos by different executives. She knew, and everyone in the group went through it.
In other words, you were attacked by those people that had all the power over you, and it was on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I had to decide for myself my moral compass. I walked away at 21 years old from a massive conglomerate that was launching us into orbit. How bad could it be for a 21-year-old to walk away from her dreams?
Yeah.
I knew I was standing on a limb.
Tracy, I know you spent years and you were on The Bold and the Beautiful and many of these successful daytime shows, and you had a horrific time. Why don't you tell us what happened?
Well, first off, I want to be clear, none of my experiences were with my producers during soaps. I had lovely producers there. It was prior to that. But the entertainment industry attracts a lot of women who are looking for validation and approval, and in my case, male attention that I didn't get at home from a father. And so you combine that with wealthy men who are in a position to advance your career. And I think one of the things I think that's really important is that at that time, I think I had the false idol of fame and fortune. So I was willing to sacrifice and do whatever it took for that. And it's interesting how people can sense that or something, because I was put into so many situations, whereas my friends who maybe weren't as vulnerable seemed to, get around it. But for me, it was, I fell into situations that I was vulnerable to, for sure.
And you got raped.
I did. Not in Hollywood. That was prior, at 16. And I think that what happens is it doesn't just start when you get to Hollywood. I think a lot of it happens before we get there. It's almost like I was groomed prior to getting to Hollywood to be the perfect candidate for these producers and directors, which I did end up falling victim to, which I hate that word victim, but
it seems like and I'll ask both of you this. Tracy, we'll start with you. Young girls, and maybe before they're 18, around 18, they have dreams. They want to be in the music industry. They want to be on television. They want to be in the movie industry.
Yeah.
And how common is this? That basically they're told it's a quid pro quo. You want a movie role, you want to get in the band, you want a chance, you got to go through us first. Tracy.
For me, it was never that blatant.
Was it subtle and obvious, though?
Well, it was like you knew who could get you a job. you knew who this director was by name. You knew who this producer was. And if they're inviting you to dinner or to something, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Because you're thinking it is regarding your career.
And then you get to dinner, and what is happening in most cases at dinner? They reveal their true intentions?
Well, honestly, Sean, a lot of these dinners, I wasn't the only girl there. There were many. It was, a flock. And it was just a selection process, I guess.
Wow.
And I think that you were actually flattered, or I was. I think it was like a compliment that you were chosen. And I was just so vulnerable for wanting that validation and approval.
You wrote a great book, by the way, Breaking the Perfect 10, about the 10 Commandments and getting your life back, which I thought was great. Kaya, how frequent do they play on the ambitions or the dreams of young people that you have seen in all the years you've been doing this?
Yeah, well, there are good people in this business too, Sean, but ultimately, there are a lot of predators in this business. We've heard the stories from Corey Feldman. We've heard the stories from Corey Haim. We've heard, Tom Petty has a song called Joe, talking about, getting a young girl and a young boy and making money off of them and controlling them. It is a scary thing. This is what needs to happen, is women need to continue to speak out. Girls in my group, girls in other groups, or in entertainment, period, need to speak out. Because you can take out the trash at that point.
Last question.
There are good people, too.
Are the people that are creepy well known? Does everybody know?
Everybody, most know. It depends on the company. Most know, but it depends on the company. Not all companies are bad. But there are the select companies that have men that push things on young girls. And it's, you're impressionable. You're a young woman.
And the political side of it is, like the Clintons. Hillary Clinton didn't say a word about her husband. Now she's lecturing us on all these issues. And she takes money from these countries that abuse women, abuse them, persecute Christians and Jews, and kill gays and lesbians. And then she sanctimoniously will lecture everybody else and accuse Mitt Romney of misogyny because he had literally resumes of women he wanted to hire, slander him. Neither one of you deserve that. I'm glad you're speaking out, and hopefully this horrible practice stops. We appreciate it.